Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Walls. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. And very interesting that we saw a video drop from the Walls official channel today that Jeff Shi has done a video talking about the sort of plan, the transfer window, how he felt that went, and sort of what he's expecting and how he feels at the moment in regards to the current season. A little bit of a surprise. I've sort of spent the last few days recharging my batteries a little bit. Haven't really spent much time on social media, but I thought I'd tune in and watch it today, and obviously give my thoughts, and then we'll catch up on a couple of little pieces of transfer news. As well as always, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So yeah, like I said, because I haven't been on socials much, I haven't really sort of gauged the opinion or really communicated with anybody about this yet, to be honest. So I really don't know what the consensus is around the Wolves fan base. I would assume mainly negative. And I think the main reason for that is that Jeff Shi has pretty much burnt all his bridges with anybody sort of close or supports Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think the connections with the fans are non-existent, whether he did a video today or if he didn't. And whatever he says on this video is going to be very hard to believe for people, because unfortunately, he hasn't really been able to back up or defend the direction that the club have been going, to be honest. When it initially came out, I was surprised because we haven't really seen his face on anything, especially publicly, through the club. We saw him on the podcast earlier in the summer, and a strange podcast, which I think he was disappointed that I understand he went on there to talk about business, and obviously it was mainly about the football side of things. And this one, to be fair, the questions were good. We learned a little bit more about his mindset on things, although I think he has put a lot of pressure on Vitor. And it would be interesting to hear Vitor's point of view, and maybe in the next pre-match press conference before the Newcastle game next weekend, someone will bring a few of these things up. But I think a lot of people would have found it a difficult watch or difficult listen, because the first thing Jeff Shi says is that it was a good transfer window. Everybody that I've spoken to, everybody's opinion that I've seen, we did a written piece on the website where people rated it out of 10, and one person put it over a 6, but everyone else was a 5 out of 10 or lower. Everyone on the Fans React video that we did, that was the last video on the channel, reacted very negatively to it. So for him to say it's a good window straight away is going to make people either turn off the video or turn off completely and just not really be able to focus on the rest of it. Later on in the video as well, he said they sort of completed their job 90%. So I think there were certain elements they probably wanted to try and get done or tidy up on the transfer window, which they didn't get done. In regards to the start of the season, obviously for Wolves, 3 games so far, 3 defeats. Jeff Shi has said that he's not concerned at the moment. I suppose in a way it's good that he's relaxed about it. If he was stressed about it, then I don't know what to think. But he knows that Wolves are experienced in the Premier League. He knows it's a long season. Things can change very, very quickly. So as you would probably expect, especially when he's backed Vitor and his team so much, at the moment he's not looking into those 3 defeats too much. And he was always talking about constant communication with Vitor Pereira. It's quite an interesting topic because on a sort of side note, you see Nuno bring up a week or two ago about his sort of strained relationship with the Nottingham Forest chairman, Marinakis. So it's interesting to say that Jeff Shi has said there's constant communication between the two. Even during the summer, they were pretty much talking every day on WhatsApp or phone calls to put their plans in place. And I suppose he's got to, because he put a lot of hope on Vitor Pereira. And then they spoke about the players that have been sold, Matheus Cunha, Ryan Aït-Nouri. The Ryan Aït-Nouri one was interesting because obviously the fee has caused and sparked so much debate since his departure from the football club. Jeff Shi is still insistent that the club sold him for the right price. Again, I don't think he's going to go out there publicly admit that they sold him too cheaply, but he did officially confirm pretty much that Ryan, although he was happy to stay put at Wolves, he wouldn't have signed a new contract at the club. He wasn't ever going to extend his stay at Molineux. So a sale really sort of needed to be done. And I suppose when teams like Manchester City come sniffing around, you are put under that sort of element of pressure to make the move happen, I suppose. Decision to let Boubacar Traoré and Tommy Doyle go was a group decision. Obviously he agreed with it. Vitor director of football, they all agreed to it. Mutually decided, that they wanted them pair to go out and play football, which is completely fine. But then they also mutually decided that in regards to a replacement midfielder or bulking out the midfield positions, they didn't want to just sign a player for the sake of it. And in their opinion, the right player didn't turn up this window. So he said that Ladislav Krejci, who signed from Girona, he can cover there in the midfield if you wanted to. I put out a couple of comments on social media, I did a little TikTok about that midfielder situation, because I saw people throw all sorts of names up in the air, free agents, because of course it has to be only a homegrown player that we've got room for at the moment. Josh Brownhill, I think he's off to Saudi now. I've seen people shout Dele Alli and stuff, which are just not good shouts, if I'm being brutally honest. So, again, let's just hope that with João Gomez, Andre, they stay fit, stay out of suspensions and so on. And I think, until January, we will be fine anyway. And again, Jeff Shi, is made out there's pretty good chemistry between all the different people and all the different departments at the club. I don't know what his thoughts were at the time, but I read a really interesting book whilst I was on my holiday by Johnny Phillips and Paul Berry. It's a couple of years old now, but Jeff Shi was very negative towards the relationship that he had with Nuno, and really that he didn't get on well with Nuno. He put a lot of Nuno's fortune and us getting into Europe and winning football matches down to luck. So it would be interesting, sort of, if we went back to 2019 and we were having these same conversations with Jeff, would he be so positive about the relationship between the club and the head coach, or is this a new thing now? Would he have thought at the time this is luck, or is that him just being very sour after the departure of Nuno? I don't know. And again, Fabio Silva was mentioned. I think he really wanted it to work. You could tell with the way he spoke about it. But I think, again, like many other people, if you liked him or you didn't like Fabio Silva, I believe he believes it was the right time for him to move on. And he finished with quite an interesting note that he still wants... He mentioned Cup Run a couple of times throughout the video, to be fair. But he wants us to be back in Europe and to be competing for trophies. Bit of a difference to what he was saying to fans when those season ticket prices went up last year. About if you want trophies, maybe Wolves isn't a team for you. So interesting. Again, like I said, I think a lot of people would have switched off. I think it's very hard to read into and believe everything that Jeff Shi says, because, as I said 7 or 8 minutes ago, he's burnt a lot of bridges with fans, and it's going to take a hell of a lot for him to get back on board. But in my opinion, watching that video and listening to that video, there's sort of no indication that Fosun are up for sale, which was a rumour, or very close to a sale or whatever. It sounds like, he's still got a plan in place. And yeah, interesting to see where it goes. We'll tidy up with a little bit of transfer news. Sasa Kalajdzic, of course, still at the club. As it stands at the moment, if my calculations are correct, he cannot be registered, or one of the sort of non-homegrown players can be registered at the moment. So at the moment, it's going to be more than likely Sasa Kalajdzic is going to miss out. So he has today been linked with Lask, the Austrian team. I think he's in Austria at the moment, which you'd expect with it being international break anyway, but he's been linked with them. The Austrian transfer window shuts tomorrow, which is Friday the 5th of September. So be interesting to see, maybe a little bit of a step down in terms of quality. You probably want him to go to sort of one of the, not the top 5 leagues, but the sort of leagues outside of there, which I mentioned last time. You got the Netherlands. There was another half decent European league as well, which I mentioned, Turkey. So I don't know, maybe it's a step down, but I think the most important thing, especially between now and January, is that Sasa is playing football. And maybe a team like Austria, where the quality is a little bit lower, but you're getting lots of first team football. Maybe that's a good move for him for the next few months anyway. Back at home, back comfortable. We'll see where that goes. And since my last video, Pedro Lima, very, very late on the deadline, signed for FC Porto as well on loan. Predominantly going to be playing for the B team, training with the A team, the first team. Weird decision. Wolves have got a recall clause in January if needs be. No option to buy for Porto. I'm not really sure what to make out of it. I would assume the Porto B team, I think they're in the second division in Portugal, so it's going to be a little bit more competitive than in playing just 21 games at Wolves. Obviously Portuguese speakers, so it's going to be a lot more comfortable for him. So we'll wait and see, to be fair, but I'm not 100% sure on that move just yet. But let's just hope him training with a good team, very, very good quality team. He can progress a little bit more and obviously play a lot more football at a good level. Wolves have still got a couple of decent right-sided defenders, even in the 21s. You got Wesley Okudua, who has been playing a little bit as a right-sided centre-back as well. So I think for Wolves, it should put him in an environment where he's playing lots of football, and whether it's at the top level or whether it's, maybe at the level below that, just getting minutes in the legs and trying to help develop them, because Pedro Lima over the last 12 months has probably played a handful of games, so really needs to be getting minutes in the legs anyway. So, yeah, that's all for my update, guys. Let me know your thoughts if you did manage to catch the Jeff Shi video. I'll be intrigued to hear, but like I said, it's a lot of the time it's very hard to believe anyway. And a quick reminder again, I mentioned it on one of my last videos. On Saturday, we are playing at Compton for the Wolves Content Creators Cup. Talking Wolves are currently the holders of the competition. We're hoping that we can retain that as well. But if you want to come and watch, I'll leave the Just Giving link at the top of the description down below. You can donate £5 per ticket if you want to come down and watch for a few hours. And yeah, it'd be great to see some of you there anyway. But as always, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you very soon.